Right, back to colouring in. This is the nuthatch. Let's see how we're going to start. We'll start with the blues. Best thing you can do, as I keep saying, find a decent picture, decent photograph to base it on. The colour of the blue, it's a greyish blue. It's not overly bright. I'm quite lucky in that I've got a nice selection of pencil crayons, but any blue will do for now. The main thing is when you're colouring in, you're trying to do two things. You're trying to put colour in, but as well as colour, you're also trying to do texture. If I was to start colouring in vertically, again, it would just be wrong. You've got to follow the grain or the flow of the fur or whatever it is you're colouring in. Always do it in the right direction. So this is colouring in just to get the basic lines, but then as well as doing that, I'll put some other lines in, some stronger lines. And they will give you a direction of the flow of the feathers. I'm doing this really quickly. You can see hopefully the pattern that I've put in here. So this is going to be going across, but now if you look at the body, the feathers will now be growing in that direction. So I've changed the direction. If I was to go across here, that would then look wrong. Though you will have some stripy little bits later on. So from this point here, as the body is turning round, the feathers go with that direction. And can you see how I'm trying to give it some texture by doing these sort of stripy bits? It does help. It just gives it that little bit more of a feather-like feel. You don't want it to look too solid. Oops, went a bit over there, does not matter, because that bit's going to be black anyway. Right, at this point it's just about blocking in colour really. There, that's how I get that texture in, just by overlayering it again and again and again. It's my basic blues in place. I will come back to those later. I'll do my blacks. If you don't have a black, you can just about get away with a pencil crayon, with a pencil. Again, something like a 4B, the darker the black the better. But they're not great because graphite in a pencil has got a metallic sheen to it, and it's never going to look, again, if you look at the difference between that and that, it is different. You are better with a black pencil crayon if you've got one. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Just give it a go. So these feathers are going to be growing out this way, all the way up to the edge of the eye. When we do the eye, I think that's quite useful. You want it as black as possible. Then I drew that top flare of light, and I also leave a slightly lighter section as well, like that. It just gives it a better appearance. And from the photo I was working from, that's how it was seen, so that's how I did it. Goes back to what I said before, the best thing you can do is actually find a really good picture to work from. The best reference material will help. I'm not doing the blackest blacks yet. You can see I can get darker, but I'm just building it up. As I'm going round, direction will begin to change as well. So I can go in there. I've got my black feathers. I'll be going along here. And on these ones, it will be darker. And there's that little light bit along the top. Darker. And a lighter bit. I should put another one in here actually. Darker and lighter. I'm always trying to remember to get that little bit of texture in, as well as the colour. And we're going to leave those white. They're also going to be just grey. I'll do that. And then for the eye, go back in. Quite happy with that. Bring that down a little more. You won't see as much light on this side. Where the light's catching it. And then just there, slightly darker underneath. Go as quick as I can. As I say, this will not be as good as this because this is going to be done a lot quicker. It's just to give you an idea of the textures and the techniques. A bit darker there. Right, let's move on. A peachy colour. If you can't produce a peachy colour, the best thing is I've got this sort of orangey yellow, which is ideal really. If you can't do this, just go with a yellow and then add in some light strokes. In fact, let's just see if I can do that for you. I'll go with a lemon yellow. So I'll put that in first. Now I need that to be nice and white there, so we need to get rid of that line. There we go. So, just to show you, you can actually mix your colours as you're doing this. And the strength of the orange, or the peachy colours, is actually a little bit stronger towards the edge of the body, and it's a considerably lighter. So as I'm going towards the edges, I'm barely colouring. I'm almost leaving it white. So you can see that colour is not the same as that. So to modify it, I'm going to go with, what have I got? There we go. This one's called Pumpkin, a nice regular orange, very light lines. So we can blend along the way. If you don't have the right colours, we just mix them up as we go. And can you see how I'm trying to get that flow? I'm not colouring this way, I'm flowing out and down. And I want to keep those colours slightly darker on the inside of the body. That will do there. Right, where am I up to? Right, I'm going to go, oh, let's get that blue really gently. Just a bluish there. I'm going to use my pencil line, my 4B pencil, as gently as I can. And it's a little bit darker in here. I'm going to put in a few extra pencil lines as I go, and put some feather detailing here. Really light lines. The more delicate you are, the better it looks. It's going to be a little bit darker. Soft lines all the way through. I want to have this a little bit darker under here, so I'm going to find a brown. What colour is this? Dark chocolate, it says, and very, very lightly. Just to give it a sense of depth and shading. Right. As I'm looking here, that needs a lot more blue in it. So as I say, I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can, still following my lines. Got a texture line there that I don't particularly like. I'm going to have to get rid of that. I can just, that's better without it, definitely. Make my colour a little bit stronger. We're colouring a little bit heavier on one side of the feather, and can you see I'm trying to put those little texture lines in as well as I'm going down. It just gives it a little bit more depth, a little bit more interest. And on the feathers, I only want this bit here to be the whitest of white. I'm going to add just a little bit of blue, because we use blue for shading white. You can use blues and yellows for whites generally. And that will do there. I'm going to go back to my, oh no, I'm going to go for a reddish colour, and I'm going to do this very, very gently. Just a hint of red on the legs, on the feet. So I'm not pressing down hard at all. And then I'm just going to soften that up with my orange again. Right, now find either a brown or a green and do your stem. When you do this stem, whoop, I'm going to turn my paper so it's comfortable for me. Darker on one side, through to light. There we go. If you've got other colours, I'm going to just use an orange, because why not? Can mix it together a little bit. We get a green in there as well. Blend it as we go. And to finish off, it looks quite lost on the white, so I'm just going to find a green. I'm going to carefully whiz around my edges. If you need to turn the paper, turn the paper. I'm trying to do it in such a way that you can see what I'm doing. Now, this does not need to be neat. This is the green of the background out of focus. You can't see what it is. It could be trees, it could be a piece of grassland. It does not matter. You can't really see it. It just gives a suggestion of colour. On this one I used I think 2 or 3 tones of green just to make it a little bit more interesting. But do make sure you go up to your edges. Almost finished. And I think we'll call that one. Oh, one last thing. Pencil again. This is still looking fairly flat. Strengthen up the lines if you need to. Don't overly do your lines, and then just add a little bit of texture. And we don't want it to look flat, so we keep these at a slight curve. If you do it flat across, it makes it look like it's a flat thing. It's a rounded thing. So we put the curve on the line. Just little bits of texture. Okay, done. Colouring in a nuthatch.